Hey folks, Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 5 summary for the Allies, Operation Blood, and it was a very busy round for the Axis. They have the Allies on their toes. They are relentless in their pursuit for Moscow. We will shoot over there first. So they are on Orly Kursk on the door of Moscow. There's still one territory between them and Stalingrad, but the Russians downgraded their major IC to a minor, and they left one infantry behind. They did not even build in Moscow last turn. So it is definitely going to fall, and likely Stalingrad as well. There's a few units hanging around Stalingrad, a little bit of a meager defense, and they retreated with 12 infantry and airborne, a couple heavy artillery, and 5 guard units. They did do a build back here in Novosibirsk, but yeah, there's the Russians would have lost that battle very easily without much cause. So live and fight another day. Look at that stack of stuff, and the Luftwaffe is absolutely made its presence felt. They've got 4 medium bombers sitting in Romania. They've got an air base in Greece, and they've got some other fighters in Rome and in Taranto, and another tactical down here. And they've got 3 medium tanks sitting in Alexandria, and they're likely going to borrow 2 more Italian transports next turn to come do a landing in Cairo. So if the British Navy had remained in the Med, it was basically on par with the Italians. It was going to die. So regardless of whatever, they decided to abandon the Med, and they did that because the Japanese had landed, I think it was 7 ground units sitting here in Madras with this Navy here, and at a naval base they landed in Ceylon. So they were 3 sea zones away from taking out South Africa. So there would have been a possibility the British could have lost basically all of Africa in 1 or 2 turns. So they decided to keep their Navy alive, retreat out of their Med, eliminate the Japanese units that were sitting in Madras. The British also had a stack of units in Kashmir that pushed forward, and they pushed a couple more units from southern Iraq into Bombay, and they are now on the doorsteps of liberating Calcutta. Now, whether they're going to get there or not, the Japanese have lots of options, but they don't have any ground units currently in Calcutta. They do have 2 veteran fighters and 5 other ground units sitting here in Bangladesh. So that's very easily what they could do. But they are looking a little bit light here in Siam, and the KMT came down. They've got 23 infantry, a cavalry, an artillery, a AAA, and 3 light tanks sitting, wanting to capture or retake Siam. So that's going to be a problem for the Japanese down here. The Japanese did take the Philippines last turn. I haven't watched the turn yet, but there was 6 or 7 Americans they had to dispatch that were at a fortification. And the KMT also liberated Hong Kong. I didn't watch the Japanese turn, but it was open, so they liberated it for the British. So there you go. The CCP has survived. They did do a walk-in Chahar and pressed everything forward. The Russians are backing away from the Japanese, who have, I think, 17 ground units sitting there, ready to go any direction. There's another 10 units down here. But that's not the big problem. The problem are the Japanese Navy. They've got 2 ground units sitting in the Philippines, and this massive Navy here sitting at a naval base that can head any direction. And they've got another massive Navy over here. They've already got their 2nd Navy build. They actually almost have 3 sitting off the coast of Dutch New Guinea. So that is a problem for the Allies. The Anzac are currently sitting over here off New Zealand, just basically, these guys aren't at a naval base. A naval base is scorched, so they're 4 sea zones away, so they are safe for now. But Anzac is, I don't know why there's a KMT there. Anzac is got about 15 units sitting guarding Sydney. Japan is working on its 3rd Navy off here off the coast. I don't even know how. They've got 2 Yamatos on the board. I think 4 regular battleships, 4 fleet carriers, 4 escort carriers, and more destroyers and cruisers than I've seen. But America's at in the war, so they are reinforcing Hawaii. They have 3 battleships and 2 fleet carriers, so they are behind. But they built 9 destroyers and attack transport in San Francisco, and they flew a fighter over from the eastern seaboard. America did liberate or annex Baja, and over here they did annex all of the Brazil and Mexico, and they built a couple transports over here and destroyers ready to at least threaten Western Europe. And Canada's building tank and men, and they've got 2 transports here off the coast of London. So potentially next turn, the Allies could do a D-Day landing and drop off in Western Europe. So we'll see what happens there. But Russia, when Russia is captured, they're going to turn over 52 IPP to the Germans, and that's going to flip a bunch of territories if they're able to capture Leningrad as well. It's going to flip Argentina and Spain and all that stuff. So that is going to be a problem for the for the Allies for sure. So yeah, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen on round 2? I predict Cairo should likely fall, given now that we're doing this low luck thing. And maybe Calcutta will be liberated. Is that a good trade-off? What would you have done, folks? Would you have stayed and fought for Cairo one more turn, or would you have abandoned and taken out the Japanese, who are likely going to come down here and annex South Africa? And I did not want to lose South Africa. So yeah. Anyways. Thanks for watching, folks, and stay tuned for round 6.